Welcome back, everyone. Second half, Siege of Middenheim. Glad you all could be here. I'm going to go ahead and kind of get right into it.
Oh, it's adding on my list.
But then again, I don't know, because it's happened to me with a couple of long series, but Black Clover hasn't done that to me, where I've lost track. But Hero Academia has kind of lost me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some shows do, some shows don't. I think it's just if it fails to grab the attention of a specific person, that just happens.
Am I that Pacific person?
Yeah. Again, I can't say that word to save my fucking life, so forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
I always say Pacific instead of the other one.
Yeah. Speaking of avatars, though, I love mine. I think it fits me perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Bravo.
I'm sorry.
Whoa, mama.
Someone in here making fun of my Goku avatar?
Yeah, I am. Why did you copy me?
He didn't.
Jackson's mean to now, everybody. We're curious. Actually,
I mean,
you know what?
changed yours like days ago. Wait.
Server mute. Let's go ahead and server mute. Nobody
Lol.
can hear him.
Savage.
Deserved.
Alright, everyone. Protect your eardrums. He's going to be real mad.
You fucking cockwitch.
Cockwitch.
Is
Bitch
that an
nuggets.
insult?
I don't know. It's pretty. It sounds like a British insult. Will, can we get a
Shut up, bitch nuggets.
can we get a legality check? Will, that
Wait, Jordan, what was the thing we needed to ask Will?
oh shit.
What was the word?
There's
Or
something
what
in
was the thing?
divinity.
Oh, fuck.
Definitely a British insult, and we couldn't hear the confirmation.
Oh, damn it.
It was also like midnight, so you were. Well, actually, no, you were awake. We could have asked you. Actually, you were playing Duck Game apparently.
Yes, we were.
Also,
Jordan.
first of all, my avatar is actually still on brand, by the way, just in case anyone was curious. It's still the green color, so it works.
Well, it's Deku, and you got what's her name? Mega's got Aurora. Oh, Raka.
Raka. Well, okay. I mean, yeah.
I couldn't
use
remember
the hero
Well,
name.
like-
Sure.
Well, like I
It's
just.
so much cuter.
Well, I remember I read it a lot, but it kind of lost my interest after the what are they called? The seniors get involved.
Oh, yeah. The anime isn't there yet.
Well, yeah. Well, there's just a lot of like,
Why all of
Why?
you? I'll kill you.
why am I so big?
Are you gonna run him over, Megan?
Like a
Stop
woodchuck.
I'm never telling you guys this story ever again. Literally ever. I'm never telling you this story.
By the way, I want to shoot Megan. I decided to do something over the break. I changed my Eldritch Blast cantrip. Do you recognize him?
Dude, this joke is fucking. I don't want to say we're beating the dead horse because it'd be much easier to just say that we're running over the dead.
Well, yeah, we're beating the dead woodchuck at this point. You know, the one that Megan cleaned off her car.
How about that temple?
Well, we triggered her so hard. She's
Why
off
did you
the
learn Discord?
She's gone forever.
I'm not
She's
sorry.
even off roll 20.
To be fair, it's pretty funny for being honest. She might actually leave the game. I might have to re-invite her. So, Kree,
This is fucking thing I found.
I want to talk to you real quick.
Me?
No, Kree. So, Kree, you've been, tending to your men, making sure everything is in order. Probably, like, receiving reports and stuff from the people who are, out scouting and stuff, like the hunting down the rest of the people that were fleeing, or the rest of the demons and stuff that were fleeing in the Norsemen pockets of resistance. And you actually get a report back. One of the Lizardmen comes to you, and he says, he's like, Leader, I have news from the Westgate. Are injured there.
Quick, out with it.
They say humans have come, but not to fight, to help.
They may be part of the resistance. If you can, get a squad of men over there. Quickly.
Yes, they say that, well,
Sorry, Megan.
they're not dealing well with the lizard folk. I don't think they recognize us as an ally. It may require assistance from someone who is human.
Find a priestess of Shalia, if you can. Bring her with you. Or him.
Okay. Yeah. So the lizardman nods and kind of backs off and moves to execute your orders. So I think that some time passes and another lizardman comes to report you and he's like, Leader, it is... Well, I have news. It seems as though there is turmoil in Northgate.
At the North Gate? What's happening?
Yes, well, whatever that explosion was, there seems to be... I don't know how to speak it. An unusual activity coming from the smoke that rises over the city eternally. He kind of like gestures towards the greenish hue smoke rising over the city.
Yeah, don't touch that.
Kree looks over and he sees the smoke sort of billowing upwards. I must inform Cahill. If you need me, I will be in his tent. And he sort of rushes off towards where he last knew of Cahill's position.
Yeah, and I think that like as you go, like he kind of trots along to keep up with you in your long Saurus legs. And he says to you, he's like, Leader, also it the humans that are helping, I heard that they are called the Resistance. They appear to be fighting in that area. Although I do not believe they are winning. It seems like a lot of the forces that are arrayed against us are in that section of the city. These tall men with big clubs. Lots of, what do they call it? Hair on them.
Cookies?
Figures. Cahill must know of this as well. Thank you for the information. You're dismissed.
Zasil is here to serve, leader. And he kind of like gives you a bow and, trots off to carry out his duties. So, Kree, you go to the guard tower and like you walk in. It's kind of cleared out. There are a lot of people like sleeping now because it's kind of getting close to the dead of night. And you know that the captain's quarters, like on the second level of the guardhouse, are where Cahill is staying. Do you head up there?
Yes.
Yeah. So you head up there, and I think that like the guards, they recognize you, right? You're the Lizardman General. Like they're not gonna stop you. So you get to the captain's door, and I assume like you pound on it.
Yeah. Quick little 3 raps.
Yeah. So I also assume that Aelin might be the one that answers the door.
100%.
Yeah. So Aelin, are you still like dressed in your bloody garb from the battle, or have you like changed by this point? It's been like maybe an hour and a half since the last interaction.
Yeah, no, I certainly will have changed.
Okay. So so yeah, you're in probably like there's probably not a whole lot available, so you're probably in like, not like a commoner's dress, but you have probably like some nicer robes that aren't spoiled, basically.
One of Cahill's bigger shirts.
I was gonna say it. I'm gonna let her decide exactly what state of dress she is in. I am just offering suggestions.
I think that she has I'm sure that one of her little minions would have offered her on her way back from somewhere a lovely robe, and I think she probably wouldn't be wearing
Yeah.
that.
Are you
Totally.
sure you're not milking this whole cult thing yet?
Yeah, and they
In character.
so they didn't have you to size for it, so it's probably like a little big in certain places and a little tight in certain places, so it kind of fits you probably a bit awkwardly, but it does the job, right? And Cahill is probably like, there's probably like a cot that's been set up now, and Cahill's probably resting. He's probably actually asleep, to be fair, when you show up. He's drained a lot of energy.
Well, it is good to see you again, Aelin, but I fear we must wake Cahill. There is some important news you must know.
But he really must rest. He just got to sleep. Is it really that urgent? And she's like, still not opening the door all the way. Like, you're still kind of like standing in the hall.
Creed just kind of sighs and rubs his nostrils. All right, come out of the room. I will have you inform him. Gives her a quick
Okay.
rundown of the information. Scary black smoke out the window. Green smoke, actually. And he says, when he wakes up, tell him. I will do what I can until then.
Yes, and if it does become more dire, please come back. I will make sure to wake him.
Great. Make sure he heals. We'll need him ready for the next battle. Good day, Aelin. Stomp,
Gives you a
stomp,
bow.
stomp, stomp, stomp.
Yeah, so Aelin, you close the door behind the pattering of feet, breathing perhaps a sigh of relief that you didn't have to like wake him up.
Mm-hmm.
And do you simply just like go back to resting, or are you praying? Like what have you been doing for the past little bit?
Yeah, I think that she would have mock tried to fall asleep so that he would also.
Right.
But
Sure.
then obviously the fact that she heard the knock and she clearly wasn't sleeping. And so I think that she would take this opportunity to just try to meditate and calm her mind from all the chaos and try to regain some composure and that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, so are you going to like wake him up now, or wait till like the morning when he wakes up?
I think that I would wait at least a few hours.
Okay.
She knows that she knows that Kree wouldn't have come unless it was actually dire. So I think that she realizes that morning probably is not realistic. So I think that she would try to give him at least maybe 2 or 3 hours if she can, and then wake him and tell him after that.
Okay, cool. So Kree, as you kind of march down the stairs, I think that Lord Tenderfoot, the halfling, is like kind of sitting at a table, and you can see like he's got his hand, like his hands are on either side of his head, and he's kind of like propped himself up, and he's just like reading over scrolls, and you can see like he's bleary eyed, and like the bags under his eyes are like heavy with his weight of tiredness, and he like as you walk down, he kind of like probably like rubs his eyes and gives a big yawn, and he kind of like looks at you and he says, "Ah, Kree, it is good to see you. Come, have a seat."
Unfortunately, I do not have time for that. However, if I may ask a quick question.
Ah, of course, of course.
Who is your most trusted captain?
Ah, well, mine personally would be... let me think here. Probably Hammond, one of my own personal guard.
Is it possible that I borrow Hammond for a scouting mission?
Yes, I don't see why not. He, should have gotten enough rest by now. He did not partake in the battle as much as others, so he should be of use to you.
And where can I find him?
I think they're staying in one of the domiciles outside. Dwarven construction. I don't really know what to call them. They're not quite houses.
That they're not. Well, thank you, but it seems you need some sleep as much as your men do. I suggest you get some as soon as possible.
Yeah, and he just kind of like nods and he says, and to you as well.
Not much sleep today going around. I have work to do. Good day.
Yeah, and you kind of briefly depart the area. So what are you going to do here? What's the plan?
So the first plan is to get Hammond to go and see if he can figure out what this green smoke is. I wanted someone trusted because I don't want this going out into the rest of the army. I want it to stay with the higher echelons if possible. Yeah, scary. And the second thing is to gather as many men as I can and just go through this back road and go meet up with all of the injured up here at the west gate.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So as you set to doing that, we flash over to Hannibal and crew, and your detect magic spell goes off. Now you're trying to just kind of identify what's going on inside of the temple, right? Like that's the kind of magic you're looking for.
Well, it's that, and also the way that detect magic, sorry, hiccups, works from the way I understand it is that it's basically I could see magic for a while.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right.
And so, like,
within a certain distance, so like you could look through Dane. I think we've done it that way before, and have Dane like fly around if you wanted to.
Yeah, and like basically, I want to. Again, sorry, hiccups. I want to identify any like alarms, any specific places where magic is really high.
Okay. So two things of note. The individual who is sitting at the front door obviously probably holds some attention for you. There's a semicircle around him that connects to either side of the door that you can very clearly tell is, hold on, I will get the type of magic right now. Is very clearly abjuration magic that is located directly around him and kind of connected to the door as well. And you can see the door is kind of laced with a little bit of the abjuration magic as well. The dome and the book inside scream with necromantic magic. Just, that's what it is. It's the purest necromantic magic you've ever experienced probably in your entire life.
That is frightening. I say that out loud the moment I see that.
Yeah. So what else are you looking for? Like other entranceways, perhaps into the temple, etc., etc.?
Yeah, let's do that. Because there's a guard out front with abjuration magic on him, which I'm gonna guess is a alarm spell.
It's a good guess.
There's probably another way in for people that are also essential.
Yeah, so you notice that at all of the doors that are like exterior doors, there appears to be a similar manner of protection. There appears to be at least one kind of solitary guardian, but they're not always like dressed. There are a couple. One of them actually, I think, is, you see there is an undead that is kind of like resting up, like leaning up against the door frame, and he's probably in one of like the back alleys, so he's not like quite visible, but it's a skeleton. You can see that it's a skeleton, but it's like got like heavy armor on, and you can see that there's like a gemstone implanted in its actually no, it's not, in its eyes are replaced with like these gemstones. They're like this deep kind of purple. They're probably amethyst if you had to like guess the gemstone. Not that really matters.
It does.
Maybe it does, yes. And you can tell that this is distinctly different because there is also abjuration magic kind of around it. You can obviously see the necromantic magic that kind of just naturally flows from undead because they're, you know, magically enhanced beings. But this seems different somehow. Like the source of wherever this undead is being controlled by doesn't appear to be normal. Along some of the other corridors, you probably see there are a couple of doors that just have that abjuration magic around them, and you don't really see anybody kind of in the immediate vicinity. But probably they're watching from some vantage point or perhaps somewhere.
So the alley it's basically an alley where the skeleton is, right?
Yeah, it's probably like the back side of the building, like the back entrance, like right about here or so.
Okay, so does he seem, how should I say this, sentient?
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know how you judge that just by watching somebody, but
I mean, like, the fact that I imagine
is-
these skeletons that we see, shit.
he is
I imagine
distinctly
the
different from the skeletons that are wandering the courtyard. Yes.
He seems like he would be alive if he had skin.
Yeah, he's actually probably like leaning up against the doorframe with his arms crossed. And you can see there's like kind of like a big greatsword on his back. And he's just kind of like leaning there, almost looks like he's bored, but he has no facial features to tell by.
That seems like a fun way to go. I tell everybody else.
Right, so warding magic, skeletal guard. I feel like the skeleton is the easier way in.
It does, and he seems different from the rest. Sorry, magic hiccups.
Sometimes when you
Seems
cast
legit.
rituals, they just come up on you.
All right, well, different as in uninterested, negotiational. Are you suggesting that Morella should perhaps flash some ankle at it?
I say it like in the term of his soul
Excuse
might
me?
still be with him.
Well, that sounds wrong.
He doesn't seem like so much an undead like we've encountered before.
I feel like you're saying you want to experiment, and it concerns me.
You know, I'm not gonna deny that. But that's not why we're here at the moment. If he agrees to it, we can see later.
Right. In the meantime, are we smashing it, or are you suggesting something else?
It seemed like a waste to smash it. I don't know. Like, Hannibal honestly looks befuddled. Like, it seems sentient, so it could possibly be reasoned with. But at the same time, it is undead.
Sylvie, do you know if anyone's been creating particularly talkative or personable undead?
Yeah. So you probably see her. She like takes a chunk off of like some dark meat that you're not sure where she got it from, and she's just like chewing thoughtfully, and kind of with her mouth full in Elvish, obviously. For those of you that can understand it, can. In fact, I think everybody here can understand it.
From what I understand, like,
Yeah, you can
I
maybe recognize like keywords, but that's about it.
yeah, Sylvan.
Especially not like, so you would be able to basically communicate with like Wood Elf dialect. This is not what that is. So you can understand like keywords. She kind of looks thoughtful for a moment and she says, well, it's possibly one of the I think they call them hunters. You can see she's kind of like struggling for a word. And she says, someone who goes out and finds someone.
I assume you mean hunter, but
This.
It's a fucking revenant.
That is the word. I have known as
Revenant.
some of the.
I didn't say that. Jackson said that.
okay.
that is the word, is one of those things that, well, I'm not very good at it, but others in the sector, they can do it quite well.
It doesn't seem to be hunting anything. I
Yes,
suppose that might account for it being bored.
you can impose the essence of someone else upon a cadaver to allow it to have some sort of life. It's not done commonly, though. It's harder to control. You understand?
Look, I'm not eager to spend any longer out here than we have to. At
Good
the
night.
moment, I still haven't heard any particularly good reason why we shouldn't kill it.
So wait, hold on. Could I understand? There's enough about that to kind of understand the gist of that.
I think that what you got from that is that
I at least got harder to control.
Yeah, like difficult is probably like something in there that you got. Something else you got is probably like the fact that not done often, right? Like it's rarer to do this. So yeah, that's probably what you caught of it.
I tell Jericho, ask it if it has free will.
Ask her?
It. I don't know her about her
Go
yet.
talk to it. Okay.
No, I mean her.
Oh.
Like the thing, and then I point at her.
Silny, she's an elf. Obviously. Anyway.
Listen, I haven't
Silny.
dissected one yet, so.
The professor wants to know if the hunter has its own will or if it's completely bound to its master.
It depends on the strength of the imposed spirit. Sometimes powerful entities like the race can be imposed upon other forms. They do not have their previous powers, but they have the, you say, different ones. Those ones mostly sentient, but
all right,
always
fine.
the small amount of control. Never disobey completely.
Jericho sighs and says to Hannibal, sort of. Look, unless there's some critical reason for this, surely you can just talk to her about it. Surely you can talk to someone about it afterwards and learn just as much. This can't be the only one in the city.
Hannibal kind of thinks for a second. He's frustrated, but fine.
Thank you.
That would probably be the less obvious way to go. However, the abjuration magic was also cast around him, correct?
I have a... Let me look up detect magic. This is, I think, gonna be like a world ruling. Yeah. So actually, I think that this does apply. So detect magic says you can see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic. So I would say that anyone who is concentrating on magic, you could identify as using it. This thing is concentrating on magic. The hunter, as Silmy called it, is
what kind
concentrating
of
on it. Abjuration.
There's a chance he might be the one that's using this spell. I say that. Like, he might be the one that has these alarms up.
Oh, good. Now they have undead wizards. Again, this mostly makes me think that at the moment we're wasting time by not asking Morella to go smash it into tiny pieces.
True. Let's go. Let's kill it deader than the woodchuck.
What the hell does that mean?
Correct. Undead wizards with great swords. Correct. I think we broke Will. I think Will has been broken. I think it's gotten to that point of the night where Will is just fucking done. He's just fucking done with life.
Holy fucking shit.
Oh, I'm sorry, Megan. I shouldn't.
All right.
But,
Do we?
oh, God.
Ideally,
Okay, you'll all get yours.
I'm
God
trying to be on your side.
No, I said sorry.
William.
I said
Well,
sorry.
We know you never meant that.
I never mean you.
We'll beat it down so badly we'll have to clean it up with napkins.
Appropriate.
It looks like it's mostly bone, but okay. Look,
So,
Morella, if you've come all this way, would you like the honor of the first brutal smashing?
Fine.
I'm just offering. Right of first refusal.
It's fine. Let's just get this over with. Hearing you two's talk is making me more tired.
Terribly sorry to inconvenience you, princess.
We're just discussing strategy here, No big fucking deal.
so
Right.
as you so you guys make your stealthy approach around the backside of the Ulrich's temple. So now let me just be clear here, because we've been confused in the past by some things. Your intention is to gain access to the building via this door so that you can perhaps steal this book of power. Is that where we're at right now?
When you say it like that.
I mean, I just want to be clear so I know exactly how hard to throw the figurative book at you. When we're talking about what our plan is here.
I mean,
Fuck it.
the problem
Yeah.
with the last time that Jericho and Farron here was not that they were ineffective at their stealing. It was they stole without thinking about it.
Yeah, true. So you get to there's a short distance between the skeleton sentinel and the actual temple, and I think that when you get Silny kind of looks and she kind of nods and is like, yes, the hunter, the stones in the eyes act as foci for the magic mostly. Also contains essence from the spirit that you input. Having two is strange, but possibly if cut from same stone, you can have same spirit but split between two if it is particularly large or powerful.
So, is magic holding this thing together? Would I have been able to tell that?
Yeah, so I mentioned there's a faint aura of necromantic magic around it. So yes. But as we know, dispel magic abilities don't really work on undead.
You fucker, you read me completely.
I know. Now, you could dispel magic and probably get rid of whatever he's concentrating on. That might be a thing that you could do.
You can also do that by taking its head off.
You could also do that by taking its head off, yes. Are
sorry,
you...
I'm going to need to step away for a second. Everyone do what Farron says.
Okay, so you see this thing, and Morella, are you just gonna walk up to it? Are you tired enough that you're just fuck this shit and just walk up to it?
I mean, that sounds like the plan that they want me to do. They just want me to fuck phase.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Farron, you've been awfully quiet during this whole
Shindig.
fucking series of unfortunate events that this crew has decided they're going to do. Morella's exhausted, so she's kind of too tired to make decisions. Hannibal and Jericho have come up with some fucking harebrained scheme to assault the temple, which no doubt after your last escapade has not only been reinforced, but also has some weird unknown undead entity standing guard outside of it. I just want to know if Farron says anything, at any point.
Why? This is a great plan. Is there something to object to?
I could be cuddling with Bernadette and stroking that luscious fur, and yet here I am with you bumbling idiots.
Who the fuck is Bernadette?
Bernadette. It's the lovely bear.
Get it right, you plebeian.
So you're a furry now.
Anyways, Farron, what do you think of this? Because I'm getting very tired at this point. Personally, I don't think this is a good idea. We came here just to simply look at what they're doing. We've done that, have we not?
I have to agree with Morella here. Last time we tried to steal things from this place, it didn't go too well.
Farron,
Alright.
how good are you at medicine checks, Farron?
What's this coming into play with?
That is a great question.
Yeah, not great.
Do you
I
want
can
to?
put
Do you want to?
faster
As
to-
as the voice of reason, I'll allow you to roll a medicine check if you want to evaluate the current status of the party.
Yeah, being the only one with any reason, I'm doing a inspiration.
Okay,
So, holy,
that's a good inspiration. Yeah, so I think that while Morella hasn't said it outright, you kind of like look her up and down and realize that she's been involved with like a fight with an avatar today, a massive like forced march through the city, a brawl with like 100+ demons surrounding her, all of the hubbub with like dealing with politics afterwards. She looks pooped. Hannibal looks okay, but also you can tell, like, because the part of Hannibal that you can see is his eyes, they sag heavily. He looks like he's been drawing a lot of energy to do spells and stuff lately. Jericho looks relatively okay, but you know that you've seen Jericho use up a lot of magic stores today.
You also get to tell that Hannibal is crazy-eyed and looks like he might just stab someone.
That's no different than any other day.
I mean, yeah, that's normal, so I don't know.
You realize Hannibal's true nature.
That's the deal.
yeah,
And you know your own status.
yeah. I'm a bit cut up, a bit drained on powerful magics. And... So yeah, I think I clearly say, look, we are all exhausted and we can't afford to get into a full-blown melee when we're all this tired. Therefore, we should do.
Hello?
We cut off.
You cut off, Will.
Okay.
You said we should do, and then you cut off.
We should do as little as possible to try to conserve as much of our strengths for when we truly need it.
I say we go back. We know enough here to warn the council to be like, hey, get over here. Some bad shit happening.
Get over here.
Hannibal kind of looks... Well, you can't really tell behind the mask, but he's kind of like knocking at his leg, like raring to go. Then he just says, "Fuck, you're right. We can't continue at this pace."
So, and again, I'm letting this be your decision because I'll always escort you into the temple if you want. But I do want to say that, like, just to give that fair warning that, you know, you're walking into the lion's den and you all are pretty spent on everything at this point.
I'm out of first level spell slots, which are my go-to in the beginning of a fight.
Spell. I have no channel, no fighter abilities.
I've also
and
lost.
At best, I have one rage and semi lay on hands.
I also have lost my Misty Step.
Yeah.
Because I used it in a totally badass move.
Yeah.
I've lost my first level spell slots, which means that I cannot have 3 advantages.
Yep.
So
yeah.
I think that maybe
lost
you
too much.
the convincing of going back is possibly happening.
Yeah, and I think that you realize as well, and perhaps I should be more clear about this as well with your like perception and investigation checks, but you realize that like whatever's happening, it doesn't seem urgent here. Like these people that are guarding this area, I swear to God, Jackson, your chip crunching is gonna fucking drive me fucking bananas.
Sorry, I'll mute myself. That was my bad.
I was like, yeah, he's just gonna eat a few chips, okay, and then it just kept going forever, and I was like, oh my God, please. Sorry.
I made myself cheese dip. What do you want me to do?
Stop eating the fucking chips!
Yes, correct.
Jesus.
Correct. That is what I want you to stop doing. Anyway. So yeah, I think that you realize that there's that moment of like where you go to like step out into the light, and you realize that, you know, these people haven't been fighting all day, right? Like whatever you're about to walk into is fully prepared for anything to happen. They have alarm spells at all the doors. They have guards at every door. They feel confident enough that with an invading army inside, one guard per door is enough, right? Like that is also kind of probably a warning sign. So luckily, you all are wise enough to recognize that and gather your information on the different entryways and possibilities about the temple. Also gather information that I think that what you realize is whatever Jericho's fear is here about some crazy dastardly deed that's going to happen.
Jericho's nuts. All right, I'm just saying now. Jericho's nuts.
It looks like nothing is happening like right now. Nothing that can't be addressed later. You know, there's no
there's not like a circle already being drawn.
Yeah, and maybe I should have been clear about this too. With like when you made that roll, something of the magnitude of what you were describing, Hannibal, would draw attention. Like big giant like spotlights shining up into the heavens, like red fire ringed around everything. Like it wouldn't be just a couple of lazy guards outside of the doors and some skeletons meandering in the courtyard. You know what I mean? There's no subtle way of doing any of the magics that you were afraid of.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like they'd be start the ritual, and then it'd be like in Final Fantasy VII when the meteor starts falling from the sky.
yeah, it would be like, you know, in game terms, maybe a couple hours that the ritual would have to like conduct to do something of that magnitude. So, Jericho, welcome back.
Who's dead?
The party
decided not to invade the temple.
The party realized that you guys were walking into the temple filled with possibly all of the necromancers in the city, and none of you have like any juice left to go today. So
we're pussying the fuck out. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to retreat.
I mean,
but
I don't know what you're talking about. Jericho still has all 3 of his level 4 spell slots.
You didn't fight the Avatar of Ascension and then fucking fought some demons.
Those are greater invisibility and Dimension Door. Jericho goes where Jericho wants, but okay.
I think Jericho thinks he goes where he wants, but, you know.
Excuse me, literally nothing has ever proven him wrong on that point. He got inside Belfort's tower.
Hold on, wait. Stop. You have Dimension Door, and you can do it 3 times?
Uh-huh.
I can do it 2 times. Could we? Wait, stop. Could me and you tag team Dimension Door all the way in there and all the way back and just grab the book and leave?
I don't see why not.
Do it.
Do it. Because with that, we could... Hold on, let's see. 500 feet. You can do it 3
it's like
times.
Dimension Door deception. That's what's happening right there. How far does the Dimension Door go?
Hold on, wait, I want to see some.
And then you find out
we have to go Dimensioneer.
What is the point of no return?
Okay, we could go half a mile with all of our Dimension Doors together.
Jordan, that sounds pretty good to me.
Could we do this? Jordan, could we do this?
I'm not going to say no. It's up to you guys.
Tell them they can do this. Whether they can or not.
I'll never say no.
You know what? Fuck it. Jericho, I'll leave it to you. I'll go with what you want. If you think we can make it in and out
Well, me and Farrah just go
well,
back now.
Look, let's just be clear on this. We have line of sight on the book via Dane, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So,
Wait, hold on, real quick. There was another thing I should have been able to see when I had Detect Magic up.
So,
What is the dome made out of?
abjuration.
Abjuration.
Yes.
Okay.
The
Can I
normal
just
shielding
state
spells.
a very obvious thing? Last time me and Jericho were in here, we only managed to dimension door because I cast a spell first, and that got dispelled by counter magic. So just keep in mind,
both have
there are
Dimension
people-
Door.
There are people that can use
counterspell. Yeah,
counterspell.
fair point. Plus, we did already steal their bone staff using Dimension Door, so they may be expecting that a second time. This is
That's
fair.
kind of what I'm thinking. I think this barrier would prevent
I mean, you should
teleportation
totally do it,
across.
Jackson. Totally do it.
Well, no,
I
I
don't.
mean,
I don't have
Jericho
enough.
knows perfectly well that Wall of Force does nothing to stop teleportation. If you want to stop teleportation, you need something like Forbiddance.
But here's the thing: we could take 500 feet off, and I could try to dispel this dome.
Now, while you twos figure that out, me and Farron are just going back now. So,
How far away was the book to the edge of the dome?
So there's probably like 30 feet on either side of the book.
Fuck, you're making this hard, George.
All
You're
right,
making this
fine.
hard.
No, Hannibal, they're right. We know what we're concerned about here now. We have some more idea of what the hell is going on. We can work with that. We can make sure that you can leave your horrifying child ghost here to keep an eye on that book.
His name is Augustus Gloop.
It's what? Gluten?
Yes.
Fine. You can leave a Gluten Maximus here to watch the book. And when the army does arrive, assuming the book hasn't moved and that everyone in the city isn't already dead, once they're distracted, or at the very least less expecting a sudden mugging again. I mean, who would try the same thing twice? That had to take them by surprise, right? Point is, we know where we're striking if we have the opportunity. That's something. But
I look at him and say, nah, and I Dimension Door. I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go along with this.
we are certainly as hell going back to the council to tell them what we're hypothesizing about this, though. The presence of the book ought to give some weight to what might otherwise be mad, idle speculation and us trusting the word of prisoner.
Okay. Yeah, so basically what I'm going to do then is I'm going to leave Dane here to report any happenstance.
Okay. Yeah, seems fine.
And I will be right back.
Okay. So, the group, against your better judgment, perhaps, decide to abandon the temple. But you do have valuable
Everyone in this
information.
town dies.
You do have valuable information. Well, see, this is what I was explaining right before you came back. Is like, they're not gonna subtly cast some ritual that kills everybody. Like, there's gonna be very advanced warning that something real bad is about to happen.
Fair enough.
And you'll have time to react. But you do have the layout of the temple now, which is helpful, kind of what you're up against, per se. You do have the fact that this book, during that debate that you and Farron had while invisible, behind the pulpit, of whether or not to follow the dude or steal the book in that moment, it's clear that the book is a very powerful magical artifact in and of itself, and can do crazy things like not be destroyed when a undead dragon is summoned around it.
Regret is a full round action.
So, the group of you sneakily heads back to the rest of, or to I guess your side of the lines, right? Because you're kind of behind enemy lines at this point. And I think that as you do, because and this is kind of what I was getting at, not so subtly. I do want everybody to get a long rest in before we do anything else crazy. To be fair, like mechanically, narratively, you guys just wanted to keep going, but I also wanted to tell you that like shit is not easy from here on out. So, does everyone want to take a long rest to recover their things as best they can to proceed into the next?
I shall. And also,